He screamed at his secretary, but her insane response left the office shocked forever. The air was thick with tension, bursting apart like a soda can shaken and popped. In an ordinary office, among the dull hum of flickering fluorescent lights, something extraordinary was about to shatter the monotony. Jack Winters, the hot-headed executive with a reputation for explosive outbursts, was at his desk, face flushed, and his voice cut through the air like a knife. His outburst echoed off the sterile walls, sending ripples of shock through the employees huddled in their cubicles, eyes wide, breaths held. What happened next rippled out like a wave crashing on a beach, altering everything in its path. Sarah, the seemingly meek secretary, her brow furrowed and hands trembling, didn't cower or cede under Jack's venomous gaze. Instead, she stood tall, her expression twisting from shock to fury in a heartbeat. The room turned silent. Microphones could have picked up the sound of a pin dropping. She leaned forward, eyes ablaze, and shouted back. Gasps erupted, jaws dropped. How could she? The vibe in that office was charged, and somehow it felt as if time was catching its breath, teetering on the edge of something unseen and dangerous. People exchanged glances, white-knuckled gripping pens and phones, the atmosphere thickened. Everyone anticipated the fallout. Jack's eyes narrowed. You think you can talk to me like that? He stepped forward, practically daring her to say more. It was a scene straight out of a drama, each second stretching painfully as fear clawed at the observers, their hearts racing. What they didn't see, what none of them could possibly expect, was the unnerving calm that washed over Sarah's face like a tide pulling back from the shore, her smile creeping up like shadows in the night. All was quiet for a split second, then the impossible happened. A brilliant flash of light shot from her fingertips. Had she just conjured fire? The silence fractured, and whispers swirled like leaves in a storm. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The room gasped again, but this time, something deeper lay beneath the shock in their eyes. Jack stumbled back, fear flickering across his features in bright colors. What are you doing?" he stammered, his bravado melting away like ice in the sun. Sarah's voice cut through the tension, sharp as glass. "You think you know power? Let me show you what true strength looks like." And just like that, the office, once a bastion of ambition had become a battleground of allegiance and power. What on earth could Sarah possibly do next? And why had she hidden this shocking side from everyone? The question hung fat in the air, begging for answers, urging everyone to hold their breath for what was to come. The silence dragged on, thick and heavy, almost suffocating. Every gaze was glued to Sarah, who stood there, electric and alive. The fluorescent lights flickered, painting shadows that danced across her determined face. Jack shook his head, as if trying to wake up from a bizarre nightmare. This wasn't happening. A secretary didn't unleash power like this. With a quick flick of her wrist, the sparks dissipated, but their intensity hung in the air like a live wire, tangible, almost humming. "I want to be your punching bag, Jack," she said, each word crisp, slicing through the tension. The onlookers shifted, the collective dread mutating into something akin to awe. Gary, a seasoned analyst in the corner, voiced what everyone was thinking: is she serious? His breath hung like fog, palpable in the charged atmosphere. "What did she just do?" someone murmured, their voice trembling wonder mixed with apprehension. Whispering reactions began to swirl as desks creaked and chairs scraped. "Enough!" Jack finally yelled, a poor attempt to regain the upper hand. He stepped back, stumbling over his own fear. The once mighty executive now appeared small and vulnerable, like a child lost in a big department store. He had ruled this office like a king, but now, a mere flicker of Sarah's fingers threatened to topple his throne, but Sarah wasn't done. You wanted to see strength? She said, stepping closer. Now she was the one advancing. Look around you. This isn't just about you and me anymore. Her tone was low, fierce, electric with promise. It's about everyone you belittle here. The pulse in the room quickened, adrenaline climbed like smoke rising from a fire. What's wrong with you? You think you can control this? Jack barked, but the confidence in his voice cracked. Panic strung his words like flimsy thread unraveling in a strong wind. I don't want to control it, Sarah responded, her voice rising, a strange blend of defiance and clarity. But I'm tired of letting you dictate what strength means. You're not invincible, Jack. She spun around, her arms sweeping across the gathered crowd, challenging their quiet complicity. Every single one of you knows it. Fingers gripped pens like lifelines, the air charged with raw emotions, blinking eyes wide as if awakening from a dark slumber. A glimmer of rebellion ignited in some, emboldening them. She's right, sniffed Marla, a timid accountant, finally shedding her hesitance. We shouldn't allow him to treat us like this. Now the energy surged, opinion stirred, like a whip crack splitting through the office. Would they rally behind her? Jack's face contorted, red blotches spreading across his cheeks, the recognition of his faltering grip, the subtle shift from tyrant to powerless devastating. It was clear, his reign wasn't just threatened, it was vulnerable. What happens next? Someone whispered, the trepidation hanging like a dark cloud. Silence crept back like a thief, stealing the moment, but the anticipation buzzed. Sarah stepped forward, her feet planted firmly. We demand respect. If it takes every bit of this power, I'll bring it. I'll bring the truth to light if needed. The challenge resonated, the crowd enlivened, adrenaline pumping through their veins, and just when it seemed as if the tide had turned, a loud crash echoed through the office, the emergency exit bursting open, revealing a hulking figure who stepped into the chaos, eyes locked onto Sarah, a face familiar to them all, yet cloaked in suspicion. The room went cold, chills racing along spines. Who was he? And what did he want? As the tension thickened, all eyes shifted towards the newcomer, questions hanging like smoke in the air, heavy and unexplainable. What dark secret lay behind his arrival, and how would it change their fight for power in this high-stakes battle? The hulking figure paused at the emergency exit, his silhouette framed by the flaring sunlight, adding to the drama of the moment. Faces turned, mouths agape, confusion flooding the room like ink on paper. Just as Sarah had risen to claim her power, this man marked a new threat. Who was he, and what did he want with her? Everyone, meet Nathaniel, Jack stammered, fighting to regain control. A senior investigator from corporate. The name echoed in the room, provoking a ripple of nervous energy. Nathaniel's broad shoulders were tense, his deep-set eyes searching for something in Sarah's expression. Trust? Fear? Power? Investigating what? A brave voice dared to break the mounting tension. It was Gary again, his previous sense of awe shaken and replaced by raw curiosity. Nathaniel took a step forward, his presence as overwhelming as it was unsettling. The accusations against Jack, he said, addressing the crowd, but his gaze firmly locked on Sarah. And the strange happenings in this office. Sarah, you hold more power than you realize. Gasps echoed through the office like a gust of wind uprooting trees. Sarah's heart raced as she processed the implications. Was this whole confrontation a mere setup? Was Jack's facade of authority crumbling under scrutiny? Power? Jack laughed nervously, the sound bordering on hysterical. What does she know? She's more than just a secretary, Jack. Nathaniel shot back, cutting him off. What happened here today is proof of her potential, her anger. The energies she taps into could be dangerous or revolutionary. The murmurs intensified, uncertainty keeping everyone edge. Sarah felt adrenaline surging through her veins once more. She had ignited something deeper within her, something Jack had controlled for too long. Dangerous? She echoed, her voice steady despite the storm brewing within her. Or just misunderstood? If I can harness this power, why shouldn't I? You all feel it too. She turned, shooting glances at her coworkers, who were still digesting Nathaniel's words. The crowd pulsed with a newfound energy, the tremors of fear beginning to transform into whispers of revolution. They were connecting, resonating with the idea that Sarah's strength might just be theirs too. That's not how this works, Jack snapped, desperation sharpening his tone. This insubordination will end here. But Sarah stood tall, unyielding. No. It starts here. She focused on Nathaniel, searching for an ally in this unexpected confrontation. What are you really here for? Why now? Nathaniel's expression softened slightly. I came to observe, to ensure you all are protected. But those who have silenced you, he gestured at Jack, will not sit back quietly. They will fight back, and they will use everything they have. Fear flickered in Jack's eyes. This was more than just a battle of wills. There were forces at play beyond comprehension. But what was Nathaniel's endgame? This wasn't merely corporate politics, it felt like a larger game, a chess match with the stakes skyrocketing. What do you mean by everything? Someone whispered, the room collectively holding its breath. You have no idea who's watching, Nathaniel replied, his voice low but firm. But if the truth about Jack surfaces, it will unleash a tsunami, one that can't be controlled. Are you ready to bear the weight of that responsibility? The air grew thick again, but now it filled with a mix of hope and trepidation. Were they ready to embrace the chaos? To fight back against a system designed to keep them down? Sarah lifted her chin determinedly, glancing at her colleagues with blazing resolve. Together, she declared. We take our stand, no matter the cost. But just as the energy soared, the office door swung open yet again. A second figure appeared. This one was smaller, yet radiated authority, a woman with sharp features and a knowing smile. Her entrance threatened to upend everything once more. What truth did she bring, and could it truly shift the balance of power? The new figure stepped into the room, and an electrifying charge hung in the air. It was as if the very walls were holding their breath. Her presence commanded attention, a woman adorned in a tailored suit that whispered authority, with steely gray hair pulled back into an elegant bun. She was not just another player in their game, she felt different, a wild card drafted from unseen ranks. Rachel, she introduced herself, exuding an air of confidence that pierced the tension like a knife. And I'm here to make sure the stakes are clear. Sarah felt her heart race all over again. What was this woman's connection to the unfolding chaos? Nathaniel's eyes flickered with recognition, and Jack's expression was one of pure panic. The room seemed to constrict, breaths hitching as uncertainty loomed. What do you know? Jack demanded, his voice cracking, revealing a tinge of desperation. He was losing control fast, and he knew it. Rachel tilted her head, analyzing him like a chess piece. More than you think, Jack. They're starting to connect the dots, and your web of deceit is fraying. The finality in her tone echoed in Sarah's mind, an unrelenting reminder that moments from now, everything could change. Nathaniel, Rachel turned, her piercing gaze softening ever so slightly. I hope you're keeping secrets close to your chest. She looked back at the crowd, the air thick with questions left hanging. You've all felt it. The whispers of your truths creeping in amidst the chaos. Do you have the courage to meet them head-on? Rachel's voice rang like a bell, reverberating through Sarah's bones. They were caught at a crossroads, a moment of revelation hanging precariously in the balance. Jack stumbled back, hands trembling, as the pressure of scrutiny swelled around him like a beast awakened. We're not afraid of you, Jack, Sarah said, emboldened by Rachel's presence. You've controlled us long enough, but look around. You can't silence this anymore. Her voice shook the room, a tempest rising within. A murmur cascaded through the office like a wave breaking against the shore. Sarah glanced back at her colleagues, noticing a flicker of determination igniting in their eyes. They were ready to take action, ready to break free from the shackles shackled to the floor like a dark spell on them all. Jack sneered, but there was an underlying tremor in his bravado. "You think this is a game?" His laugh was a hollow echo, spiraling through the fractured tension. "You're playing with fire, and I'm the one holding the matches." Rachel stepped closer to Sarah, her presence like a shield. "Fire can illuminate or destroy. It depends on who's wielding it." The scrutiny of her piercing gaze grabbed Sarah. The light inside her sparked brighter at the thought of wielding that power, becoming the fire instead of merely being consumed by it. "Who's watching us, Rachel?" Sarah pressed, her voice a whisper, though deeper curiosity lingered. The crowd was hanging on the precipice of understanding. They needed a hero, and Rachel might just be the catalyst they didn't know they needed. Rachel paused briefly, the weight of her next words palpable. "You should know the truth often hides in plain sight." A shiver danced down Sarah's spine. "And if it comes out, Jack might not be the only one who shudders with fear." Suddenly, all eyes turned back to the door as the tension reached a fever pitch. They weren't alone anymore. Another figure loomed near the entrance. This one remained shrouded in secrecy, but a familiar sense of unease settled in the air like the calm before a storm. Who was this newcomer, and what dimension of danger did they bring? The question hovered, heavy and chilling. The pieces were set to move, but which direction would they fall? The door creaked slightly, stealing their focus from Jack and Rachel's standoff. A tall figure stepped into view, half illuminated by the dim overhead lights, casting long shadows across the room. The masked stranger's profile flickered just at the edge of recognition, yet a chill ran through Sarah as she felt every instinct scream that they were in for more than they bargained. "Who the hell are you?" Jack's voice dripped with venom, his bravado crumbling like brittle glass under pressure. The figure moved forward with an ease that suggested familiarity, and as they stepped into the light, Sarah gasped. It was Claire, her expression a haunting mix of defiance and fear. The secretary stood there, no longer just the support staff, but a vessel of untold stories and uncomfortable truths. "Claire." Nathaniel's voice wavered, disbelief rendering him momentarily speechless. "What are you doing here?" "I have a message." Claire's gaze flitted between Jack and Rachel, her composure startling against the palpable tension in the air. "And it's not just for you, Jack." In that moment, silence wrapped around them like a thick blanket. The others stayed rooted to the ground, no one daring to utter a sound. Just as it seemed she might withdraw, confidence surged through Claire's demeanor like a flame igniting the spark of rebellion within Sarah. "Tell us, Claire," Rachel urged, stepping into the space, an unspoken alliance forming between them. "We need to know what you're holding back." Claire inhaled deeply, steadying herself. "There's a game being played, a sinister one. Secrets you all think are hidden are drifting closer to the surface. This moment. It's just the beginning." Jack's face contorted in rage, veins throbbing at his temples. "You're making a mistake, Claire." He stepped toward her, fists clenched, desperation lacing his tone. "You think they'll believe you? After everything?" "People believe what they feel," she countered, her voice unwavering. "And they're starting to feel the truth in their bones." The air thickened as the room buzzed with tension. Each of Sarah's co-workers glanced around, caught between fear and expectation. This was at the moment where truths collided with lies, where ghostly shadows were brought into light. "Who else knows, Claire?" Sarah pressed, her heart pounding. The urgency of the moment felt like a ticking clock, each tick amplifying their doom, yet a strange thrill pulsed through her veins. "Who's behind this, and what do they want?" "I don't know all the details," Claire admitted, her voice cracking for just a fraction of a second. "But there's a faction working against Jack, a faction that has powerful allies and plans to expose everything. They're watching us right now." Jack paled visibly, the walls closing in on him. "You're lying!" he roared, though his bravado had lost its fire. "No, Jack," Rachel said firmly, stepping forward. She's telling the truth, and you can feel it. You're not the one in control anymore. In a sudden moment of clarity, it felt as if the entire office breathed in unison, some spark igniting within them that clawed for freedom, a desperate yearning for exposure and redemption. Claire lifted her chin, defiance etched across her face. I will not be a pawn any longer. You know your empire is built on sand, Jack. The truth will wash all of it away. But as her declaration filled the air, a loud crack echoed behind them. The door was flung open, revealing a looming silhouette veiled in shadows. An ominous figure stepped in, the energy in the room stalling like a record scratch. Dark eyes glimmered from within the depths of the entrance. Did I hear someone mention the truth? He had arrived. But who was he? What secrets did he carry that could either deepen the threat or shatter the fragile alliance before them? The weight of anticipation hung heavy in the air. The room was on the cusp of revelation, and it pulsated with an electric foreboding ready to break. The figure stepped into the light, the shadows peeling away like the layers of a wound. Instantly, Sarah's body tensed. He was tall, clad in a dark trench coat that made him look even more imposing. A small smirk danced on his lips, amplifying the chill in the room. Who the hell are you? Jack barked, stepping protectively in front of Claire. His bravado was laced with an unmistakable edge of fear. The man chuckled softly, his voice a smooth whisper that cut through the unease like a knife. Names are for the faint-hearted. What you need to know is that I hold a key, one that can turn your world upside down. His eyes flickered, studying each of them, landing on Rachel last. For a moment, a powerful silence enveloped the group. The tension escalated, crackling like static in the air. What are you talking about? Rachel snapped, breaking the silence. She had moved to stand beside Claire, ally to ally. What are you after? Aren't we all after something? He stepped closer, a predatory gleam in his eyes. I'm here to help you see the truth. But truth can be a double-edged sword, can't it? Jack's expression twisted. Get out. You have no business here. The man laughed. It was a low, mocking sound that reverberated against the walls. Oh, but I do. And you'd be wise to listen, Jack. There are many who want you under their thumb. You've made powerful enemies. Claire's voice broke through the tension, shaky yet unapologetic. You want to intimidate us. We deserve to know. What do you want? Truth comes at a price, Claire. He leaned in closer, his eyes narrowing. I can offer you power, safety, but you'll have to risk exposing the game you're all part of. Jack's lips pressed into a thin line as he absorbed this information. The shift in his posture was palpable. Finally, as if a dam had burst within him, he erupted. You think you can come in here and threaten us? We all have skeletons. I will destroy you. Whoa. Nathaniel's voice was a tremor in the charged atmosphere. He stepped forward, hands raised, eyes darting between the two men. Let us all just take a breath. What is it that you really want? We didn't come into this office to fight. The stranger's dark eyes flashed. I want the truth. It's everywhere like a festering wound that you all refuse to acknowledge. But it's about to be exposed. Rachel moved slightly, her posture daring. What are you saying? Who are you really? What do you know? He smirked again, but it felt hollow like a mask barely hiding chaos beneath. I can show you. But only if you're prepared to step into the light and face what's lurking in your shadows. A quick heartbeat thumped in Sarah's chest. She glanced at Jack, who was now wall-like, imposing and unyielding, but clearly shaken. The truth thrashed around them like a wild animal, waiting to pounce. A low rumble broke the tension, a sound that didn't belong in the office. They all froze, shifting their eyes toward the source. The silence was ripped apart again by the echoing crack of a gunshot that sent them all reeling back in instinctive fear. As the echoes faded, the man smirked one last time, a cat that got the cream, as if he were inviting them to unravel the chaos he was about to unleash. "Choose your weapon and choose wisely," he said, his voice reverberating as he vanished into the shadows. The room hummed with adrenaline, disbelief painted on each face. What had they just stepped into? As the door swung and then crashed shut again, an urgent question hung in the air: would they be able to uncover the truth, or would it consume them all first? The crack of the gunshot still reverberated in their minds as the tension thickened. Sarah felt her heart race, the adrenaline flooding her veins like fire. She wanted to scream, but her voice died in her throat. Her gaze darted to Jack, who was now pale, the bravado fled from his features, replaced by a dawning horror. "What the hell just happened?" Nathaniel whispered, his voice barely above a tremor. He glanced toward the door where the ominous figure had vanished, shadows swallowing him whole. "Did he just shut up?" Jack snapped, his eyes flaring with anger and fear. "We need to focus. We can't let whatever that was throw us off course." "Yeah, right," Rachel spat, her hands balled into fists. "A gunshot just rang out, Jack. How can we focus when we could be next? We don't even know what's happening." Claire's breath hitched. "We need to check the hallway. See if no." Jack cut in, stepping forward. "We have to stick together. Find a way out of this. Get as far away from here as we can." His words didn't quiet the collective panic brewing, each heartbeat drowning their reason. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed from the office door they had just exited, an innocent sound, but it sent ice through their spines. "Maybe it's the police," Rachel suggested, her voice shaking as she slowly approached the door. "Or it's someone else," Jack warned, taking a defensive stance in front of her. "No one opens that door unless we're sure." Another knock, louder this time. It was followed by a voice, a tremulous whisper they all recognized. "Sarah? Are you guys in there?" Sarah's heart sank. "It's Emma," she breathed. "Now what?" Nathaniel fidgeted, peering over Jack's shoulder. "Do we let her in? We might be putting her in danger." "Emma!" Sarah shouted, the urgency cracking her voice. "Just stay back. We're okay, but there's been an incident." "An incident? What do you mean?" Emma's voice was laced with worry. "We can't explain right now," Jack replied. "Just go. Get to safety." A shuffled sound came from the other side of the door, and then a sudden silence fell. It felt like the entire world was holding its breath. Just as quickly as it had come, the moment shattered. Something slammed into the door with a force that reverberated through the frame. "Open up." Emma's voice was sharper. "I'll handle this. I'm not leaving without you." "Are you insane?" Claire shouted. "You can't." Just before she could finish, the door burst open, sending splintered wood flying across the room. Emma, eyes wild with determination, stood there framed in chaos. Her frantic breath hitched as she took in the scene. "We don't have time," she urged, frantically searching their faces. "We have to go. They're coming for you." "Who?" Jack demanded, stepping forward, fists clenched, prepared to confront the threat unseen, but Emma had no time for explanations. In one swift motion, she grabbed Sarah's wrist, pulling her toward the door. "Now. We've got to run. They found out about you." "About what?" Rachel gasped, following closely. "What do you mean?" "Everything. All of it." Emma's voice rose, panic lacing every word. "You don't understand. They know you saw it." As they rushed into the hallway, shadows stretched like grasping hands, and the clamor of chaos enveloped them. Every corner seemed alive with whispers, dark thoughts clawing at the edges of their minds. With fear coursing through their veins, they stumbled into the unknown, the truth spiraling closer to the surface like a wild storm, alarming and uncontrollable, yet even as they ran, a chilling realization crept in. If they were being hunted, then what lay ahead was far more treacherous than any of them had anticipated. Would they outrun the darkness, or were they about to step right into its heart? They burst into the hallway, hearts pounding, legs pushing forward through a haze of fear. The dim light flickered overhead, casting shadows that danced ominously against the walls. Sarah could feel Emma's grip tightening on her wrist, guiding her with alarming urgency. "Where do we go?" Nathaniel asked, glancing nervously down the corridor. The echoes of their footfalls felt louder than the chaos they had left behind, a reminder of how exposed they were. "Downstairs. We have to reach the exit," Emma commanded, her eyes darting around like a hawk searching for prey. "If we can get out, we can find help. We might still be safe." "Safe?" Jack shot back, breathless with disbelief. "You think anyone is safe after what just happened? We could end up in a trap." "Stop arguing," Claire snapped, her voice sharp. "We can't let them catch us." As they reached the stairwell, a piercing sound sliced through the air. Screams echoed from above, twisted with panic, clawing at their sanity. Each scream was a warning, a sinister reminder of the peril lurking just beyond their vision. "Go," Emma urged, pushing them toward the stairs. They rushed downward, feet clambering over each other, breaths hitching in their throats. The air was thick, electric with dread. Sarah stumbled, her ankle twisting awkwardly, pain shooting through her leg. Jack caught her just in time, his grip steadying her. "Keep moving," he urged, his voice strained but decisive. "We don't have time." They plummeted down, the shadows creeping closer, menacing whispers narrowing the space around them. The voices of fear wrapped around Sarah. It felt like darkness was gathering, preparing to swallow them whole. As they reached the bottom, an unexpected chill swept across Sarah's skin. They stood at the door leading to the main entrance, breaths heavy as they huddled together. Emma leaned closer to the door, straining to listen. A soft rustle echoed from outside. "What do we do now?" Rachel breathed, terror lacing her tone. Emma hesitated, trapped in the moment. "We can't go out there blindly. We need a plan." "Maybe we can find something to defend ourselves," Nathaniel suggested. "Anything." "Like what?" Claire shot back, eyes wide. "A pen. This isn't a schoolyard." Then, a sharp crack sounded from the other side of the door. The wood buckled slightly, a foreboding signal that whatever was coming found them. "Get ready," Jack commanded, stepping in front of them, fists clenched. "Step back," Emma shouted, and she yanked Sarah toward the far wall, taking cover as if the door were a shield against impending doom. It wouldn't be long before something came crashing through. The door buckled again, and they heard muffled voices on the other side. Distorted and harsh, clarity blended into madness. "Let them out, don't let them escape." One voice roared, drenched in venom. "They know too much." Another hissed, deep and threatening. "What do they want?" Sarah's heart raced, ice filling her veins. It was clear now, it wasn't just about the gunshot. They were after something more, something bigger. Suddenly, the door burst open with a deafening crash, flinging aside splinters. They threw themselves to the floor as two dark figures surged into the room. Faces obscured, snarls curling from their lips as they advanced. "Grab them!" one of the figures shouted. Emma's voice cut through the panic, frenzied yet resolute. "Run! Now!" Sarah scrambled, her instincts kicking in as adrenaline surged through her body. She was propelled forward, heart in her throat, desperate to escape the looming darkness. But as she dashed past, a hand shot out, grasping her arm. "Sarah!" Jack's terrified cry barely reached her as she was yanked back into the shadows. Every internal alarm rang. This was it, the moment that would define everything. Would she be dragged into the darkness that threatened to consume them all, or would they find their way out together despite the odds? As the darkness closed in, one question blared in her mind: how much of the truth would they have to uncover to survive? Sarah felt the grip tighten, cold fingers wrapping around her wrist like iron. Panic surged within her, twisting her breath into a tight knot in her throat. She had to move, had to escape, but all she could think was that this could be the last moment she ever tasted freedom. "Let her go!" Jack shouted, his voice a wild mix of anger and fear. He lunged toward the figure that held Sarah, arms swinging. The dark figure, the one who seized her, let out a growl, a guttural sound that echoed off the walls like a grotesque symphony. With a violent twist, he yanked her closer, the cruel smirk hidden in the shadows promising unspeakable horrors. In a split second, Emma took action, throwing a sturdy chair toward the figure. It collided with an explosive smash against the wall, causing a brief distraction. "Now, Sarah!" Emma screamed, her eyes blazing with determination. Instinct kicked in like a shot of adrenaline. Sarah twisted her body free, breaking the hold. Before she could think, she scrambled to her feet, stumbling over debris that littered the floor. They surged forward, their group tightening into a living wisp of desperation. "Where do we go?" Nathaniel shouted. "To the back. We'll cut through the kitchen." Emma replied, leading the charge as adrenaline pumped through them, fueling every desperate footfall. They dashed through what felt like an endless corridor, the shadows trailing closer, creeping like snakes ready to strike. Muffled shouts and snarls from the figures behind them punctuated their escape, slicing through the air in a terrifying chorus. They burst through the swinging door into the kitchen, a chaotic mess of pots and pans. Sarah glanced around, frantic for anything that could help. Her gaze landed on a heavy metal pan, half buried beneath twisted metal scraps. "Grab that!" she yelled, pointing. Claire swung to grab it, her hand shaking as she clutched it like a lifeline. "What now?" "We'll defend ourselves," Emma breathed, determination cutting through the fear. As if saying it out loud summoned their pursuers, a chorus of footsteps thundered behind them, pounding towards the kitchen. "They're coming!" Jack whispered, his panic palpable. "Into the prep area," Emma instructed urgently. "We can barricade the door." They rushed past cutting boards lined with old ingredients, slipping into the next room just as the door rattled with a bone-jarring thud. Panic flared as they struggled to push against the heavy metal door, praying it would hold. It won't hold long. Nathaniel shouted, beads of sweat rolling down his brow. "Get something to block it," Emma ordered, surveying the dim space. Just then, Sarah's ears caught the faintest sound, a single voice filtering through the chaos. It was whispered, muffled but distinct, "We have to act fast. They've seen us." "Who is that?" Jack asked, fear etched on his face. "Another survivor?" Claire breathed. Was there indeed someone else? Or was it a specter of their fear? The possibility chilled Sarah, but there wasn't time to dissect it. The door bucked again, louder this time, sending vibrations up through their spines. "Move!" Emma urged, pushing Sarah forward. "We have to find a way out before they break through." Every heartbeat resonated with urgency. There had to be another route, a way to escape the madness unfolding around them. With resolve, they tore through the shadows, hearts pounding louder than the chaos behind. Just as they turned a corner, a figure materialized from the gloom, a shape cloaked in fear yet standing firm. A flash of metal glinted in the low light, and hope sparked tentatively in Sarah's chest. "Trust me," the shadow called out, gesturing wildly into the inky void beyond. "What do we do?" Nathaniel asked, uncertainty flashing across his face, and as the door cracked even louder, reverberating in their ears, the entire world fell silent, leaving them suspended between fear and a choice that could change everything. Would they dare to leap into the unknown? Or would the darkness consume them all? In the dimly lit preparation area, chaos loomed. The door crashed against the wall, and the ghoulish figures erupted into the room, eyes gleaming with the thrill of the hunt. Each breath felt ever more precious, a reminder of the urgency thrumming like a heartbeat. For a moment, everything slowed. Sarah's gaze flicked around, and she could feel the weight of expectation on her shoulders. Would they fight or flee? Salvation felt just out of reach. Trust me. The mysterious figure extended a hand, rooted in shadow yet unmistakably steady. It was their first glimmer of guidance amidst the storm swirling around them. Who are you? Jack hissed, tension coiling around his body like a vice. Does it matter? He shot back. We need to move. The voice was compelling, firm yet laced with urgency. Something deep within Sarah ignited the sense of danger, the desire to escape, and the realization that they couldn't wait any longer. Let us go. Emma grabbed Sarah's hand and rushed towards the silhouetted figure, heart pounding like a drum. Nathaniel, Claire, and Jack followed, adrenaline racing with every swift movement, the shadows creeping in behind them. Down here. The figure led them through a narrow passage concealed behind stacks of boxes. They squished through, breaths mingling with anxiety. The darkness wrapped around them like a suffocating blanket. A few feet more, and they stumbled into a larger room. What now? Claire gasped, though her voice came out a low whisper filled with fear. They quickly scanned the space. Racks of equipment loomed, items scattered like lost souls. The figure stepped forward, revealing a familiar face. It was Daniel, their long-lost colleague. Sarah's heart skipped. He had always been a quiet presence, but now a spark ignited in his eyes. Here, Daniel said, motioning them toward a bank of old metal shelves. He was breathless yet resolute. There's a way out through the service exit, but we have to block that door first. Let us move. Jack urged, urgency coloring his tone. Working together, they shoved barrels and boxes against the door, sweat pooling on their brows as heavy wood screamed against the pressure of those outside. As they barricaded, the door shook violently. Sarah turned to Daniel, desperation tightening her throat. You mentioned they've seen us. Who are they? Daniel's expression darkened, but behind the fear, there was determination. Others want to control what you can do, what the truth is. They'll stop at nothing to eliminate threats. His words resonated like a warning bell. Sarah suddenly felt the weight of her potential, of what had ignited inside her. This wasn't just about escaping, it was about facing what was coming. The door shuddered, a loud crack resonating that sent tremors of panic through their ranks. Get ready! Nathaniel yelled. When it opens, we push, but we need to make it to the exit. Moments dragged on. Their breaths synchronized like a distorted rhythm. Every second felt ripe with potential, tinged with fear, the kind that clattered like loose change in their pockets, a reminder of what lay ahead. Then came the thunderous boom. The door burst open, with a primal roar. The group surged forward. Jack led, shaking off the remnants of doubt, hot fury in his eyes. The figures loomed larger, shadows stretching into the flickering light. Daniel stepped in front, channeling something potent, a force born in the darkest corners of the office. Stop! He yelled, and the intruders paused, taken aback. You don't know what you're dealing with. For a heartbeat, silence hung like fog, the chamber vibrating with unease. They filled the doorway, and it felt like the world had unraveled before them, a battlefield of raw emotions, desperation, and determination. In the split second of calm, Sarah could feel the electricity in the air, the same energy that had surged when she had confronted Jack. That spark ignited within her once more, urging her forward. Then, she stepped up. We won't let you control us anymore. Her voice rang out, full of strength, clear as a bell that shattered the tension. Jack, Nathaniel, Emma, Claire, and Daniel rallied behind her. You can't steal our truths. They chorused, their voices rising like a surge of awakening. With every ounce of confidence they had thrust into the storm, they barreled past fear, embracing the chaos swirling around them. The true fight began between shadows and defiance. Together, they unleashed an energy that was palpable, a force that could reshape their fates. Let us go! Daniel shouted again, this time infused with a potent blend of bravery and anger, propelling them forward through the tangled veil of darkness that chased them. They broke through to the service exit, a reluctant burst of light spilling in like a promise, beckoning them toward freedom. Their hearts pounded against their chests, the desire for liberation surging alongside the fear they carried. With one final push, they rushed out into the world beyond, ghostly figures fading into the shadows behind them. Emerging from the storm, they stood together, bathed in sunlit clarity and filled with revelations. They had faced what had loomed over them, exposed the truths that had lingered like ghosts. In that moment, in the wake of chaos and fear, a fierce bond formed, a camaraderie forged in the fires of confrontation. As they looked at one another, all sense of uncertainty cleared. Sarah smiled, the first smile of hope in ages. She felt the strength of the group beside her and realized they were no longer victims but warriors. "We take our stories back," Jack declared, finally freed from the burden of pretentious authority. The others nodded, knowing what they needed to do. They both fight for each other and reclaim the narrative they lost. Stepping into the daylight, they knew one truth crystal clear: this was just the beginning, and they were stronger together. Now it's your turn to be a part of the journey. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this unpredictable ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything and helps build this amazing community.